Hello and welcome to this interview here on Money Paathshaala. Joining me today is a real estate expert, someone who has multi-decade experience in the sector and in other sectors as well during his corporate journey. But currently, he is the group CFO at REA India, which has a clutch of real estate ventures, uh, housing.com, proptiger.com, and makan.com. So, of course, we are not going to discuss with Vikas Wadhawan what he intends to do with these three separate ventures or what they do differently. But the idea is to have multiple conversations as we go along. But today, putting the focus on the bull run that the real estate market is seeing. Uh, Thank you, Vikas, for joining me on this interview. And my first question to you would be that do you feel that this bull run that we are seeing on every parameter, actually sales, launches, prices, do you feel it has more legs to continue for some more time? Because one of the triggers that could have halted it was an interest rate hike, but that clearly doesn't seem to be happening at this point of time. So your thoughts, please.
First of all, thanks Vivek for hosting me on this interview, and hello everyone. So Vivek, you've asked multiple questions in one question, so let me try and answer each one of them one by one. I would call this phase as a bull run because the real estate market is coming out of a very long down cycle, and we've seen typically the real estate cycles are, whether it's an upturn or a downturn, are long in cycles. So real estate market has always been cyclical. So my sense where we are standing today, we're going to see a longish upcycle, the way we've seen a very long down cycle between 2014 until 2019. Now, there are multiple reasons why I'm so bullish about why this is going to be a long cycle. Because if we reflect back over the last 4 5 years, there are some very strong structural changes which has happened in the Indian economy as well as real estate. First and foremost was demonetization. Then RERA happened because the down cycle, which started in 2013, the predominant factor was the lack of confidence of the buyer in the real estate sector, and a lot of developer entered into the market without having the wherewithal of delivering the project, which shaken the confidence of the buyers in the market. RERA came in and helped in kind of bringing the confidence of the consumer back on the back of regulations, and made developers and intermediaries accountable to what they're selling. GST was a big reform which happened during this period, and and then the COVID happened, which is more of a sentiment thing than anything else. But these structural reforms set a very solid foundation for real estate. One thing which also happened in the down cycle was a lot of developers who doesn't have the financial wherewithal or the technical competence to deliver real estate projects. They either moved out of the market or they got consolidated with bigger players and bigger brands. And that also added in terms of the confidence of the buyers in the market. Now, 2020, COVID happened. And during the COVID, people realized that probably home is the safest place they have. And that's where the demand sentiment or the sentiment of buying a home or having a home started growing very significantly. Uh, Digital acceleration happened during the same period, which helped people searching property digitally, coming to the platforms like housing.com, and finding a nice home. Even the people who had homes were also looking at, because now hybrid work environment is the reality, and I don't think it'll going to go anywhere. People need some space in their house where they can work maybe once in a week or 2 days in a week. They need a nice study area for their kids uh, because of what we experienced during 2020 during COVID. So buying sentiment improved. People wanted to upgrade their house because they need a bigger space at the house. And infrastructure development, we can't miss that, which is also fueling real estate, not only in bigger cities, but also in tier two, tier three cities, because as the connectivity improves, the real estate improves. So these are some structural changes which has happened. But now, if we look at where we are right now, the economic indicators, all the economic indicators are talking about India possibly is the only bright star from the economic standpoint, and possibly is the fastest growing large economy across the globe. And if we continue to grow at the pace at which we are growing, which is 6.5 to 7.5%, I think we have a very, very bright future in terms of growth, not only in real estate, but in all sectors. Uh, I just wanted to quote, because we are seeing that quote unquote bull run in the real estate sector. Not only the end user which are back in the market, but also the investors are also back in the market, right? And we did a survey on housing.com in collaboration with Naredco, and there the participants of the survey, 48% said they want to they are favoring real estate as an asset class, outperforming stock and fixed deposits and gold as well, right? Because historically we have seen in India, people have a different love for real estate, right? And when some of the structural issues are solved, people are back in the market and they want to invest in real estate. Interest rate, the topic which you touched upon, I don't think that is a major concern, because we've always seen mortgage rates hovering between 7% to 10%, and right now we are at a sweet spot of 8.5 to 9%. Anyways, mortgage is a very, very long term commitment, and 0.5% up or down does not impact the buying sentiment or buying decision of the buyers. Because if your real estate prices are going up at a at let's say on an average of 5%, buying a home today is better, and paying 0.5% or 1% extra on mortgage is a better decision rather than delaying your decision waiting for mortgage rates to come down, right? So I think these factors combining all together, I'm pretty confident that we're going to see a continuous growth momentum in real estate, because there is definitely a huge shortfall in terms of organized or condo housing in India as compared to the population or urban population, so to say.
Vikas, how have residential prices moved, and where do you see them going, say, in the next 2 to 3 years?
So again, Vivek, this has a lot of bearing from the past. If you reflect back, the prices in real estate between 2014 to 2020 was stagnant and was not increasing. But at the same time, everything related to the delivery of houses increased manyfold on the back of inflation. So if you look at developer, they have two, three important elements of cost. One is the land cost, which is consistently growing in India, because at the end of the day, we have a finite pool of land which is available for development. Two, your raw material cost, your labor cost, right? That has gone up significantly, and especially post COVID, your labor cost has gone significantly higher, especially on the back of additional compliances which are put in place. Rightfully so, we need those compliances. We need a healthy work environment for the labor who is delivering those houses. So the compliance costs have gone up. On the back of RERA, GST, and many other regulations, the overall compliance cost of the developer is going up. So the costs have gone up over the last 7 years, but the prices were not going up. So it is bound to happen that now the prices should start moving up, so that it becomes economically viable for the developers to deliver the projects, right? That's the base on which the real estate prices have started moving up. Yes, we've seen in some of the market prices have moved up slightly disproportionately as compared to the average inflation. Like, talk about Gurgaon. Gurgaon we've seen a year-on-year increase of 12%, right, which is higher, and that's an average. In some of the micro markets, we've seen more than that. But if you look at Gurgaon, while people talk about oversupply, frankly, a good livable place in Gurgaon, there is a short of supply. I've seen people are not able to even find a house on rent in Gurgaon. They find it difficult because there is a demand and supply gap, right? And if we look at some of the other cities like Chennai, Mumbai, there is a modest growth in prices we've seen over the last 1 year, which is 3%. And some of the, if I talk about pan India top eight cities, the prices have gone up by 6%. But as I was setting the why the prices are going up, I think we will going to see this trend where going forward we'll see a continuous escalation in prices in the range of 5 to 7%, and that's, I think, keeping in mind the inflation, should be okay from an industry standpoint.
You made the point earlier about, COVID and the hybrid work model. Is that the reason why people, or do you have, obviously you have the evidence across your platforms, are people searching for bigger homes because, working couples, um, children, you want to kind of, one of them or to both of them maybe working from home. Are people looking for bigger spaces now than they were earlier? And does that therefore mean that it's more of the luxury? And I know luxury we define as, I don't know how you define it, but 1 crore to 1.5 crore in a big city has pretty much become the norm, isn't it? For various reasons that you've already talked about. Uh, is that something as a trend that you're seeing, people looking for bigger homes now?
So absolutely, I mean, bigger homes, as you rightly said, Vivek, is one thing which is fueling the growth in higher price bracket of properties. But it's not only bigger homes. I mean, if what we have seen in terms of demand sentiment, people are buying bigger homes, but people also want a community where, in something like a lockdown situation, they have access to the basic amenities. They have access to basic infrastructure like nearby park where they can go for a walk, or they can access some health services like gymnasium or sporting facilities, and the health services should be in the close proximity. This has also become an important criteria when people are looking for homes. And these things typically we've seen are either in good condominiums, and good condominiums which are well within the heart of the city. Therefore, the prices of the property are going up. If I share some data points, as you said, luxury as 1 crore and above, 2023, H1 2023, the contribution of properties 1 crore and above in the overall sales has gone up to 24% as compared to 16% pre-COVID. So there is an 8% increase in terms of market share in the overall sales in H1 of 2023. And that is the trend which we've been talking about. And if we kind of dissect it a little bit further, we've seen 17% growth in the price segment, in this 1 crore price segment, as compared to H1 of 2019 to H1 of 2023. So and obviously Mumbai always leads the chart because it's an expensive market. Property prices has always been expensive there. 50% of properties in Mumbai comes in this price segment. And if we look at the growth, Pune probably leading the chart, where we've seen YOY growth in this segment of properties 116%, followed by Hyderabad. But some of the non-traditional markets, which are not expensive markets like Noida and Faridabad, and we've seen a lot of mid-segment launches in these markets, developers are seeing demand and hence launching high-value properties even in these markets. We've seen M3M launching a 7 crore worth of flat in Noida. There are developers who are launching expensive properties in Faridabad. So that trend is catching up because people are asking for amenities. People are asking for a social infrastructure and obviously a bigger house. So I
Mhm.
think that trend will going to continue.
Vikas, is the real estate bull run more confined to the top cities? You talked about 8 cities. Uh, or is it a nationwide phenomena that, I mean, of course, we did see a lot of migration also post COVID. A lot of people, both ways actually, initially went back to, their native places and then came back again. But is the trend also visible beyond these 8 big clusters or big cities, as you described earlier? Or is it confined largely to these big cities, which of course are also expanding? Mumbai is now, being tracked more as a Mumbai metropolitan region. NCR is being seen as one holistic entity. So these are not small one cities, but nevertheless, are you seeing action beyond these 8 cities as well?
Absolutely, Vivek. We are seeing a very similar trend in tier one and definitely in tier two cities. Tier three cities, I think, will going to take a little bit more time in terms of catching up. But tier one and tier two cities, definitely, we are seeing similar trends. And there are reasons behind it. One, while you rightly said there was a migration from bigger cities to smaller towns or people going back to homes during COVID, and then post COVID, they've come back. While they've come back to the bigger cities, but they spend a reasonably long
Hmm.
time in their back homes, and that's when they realized they probably need to upgrade their houses in those smaller cities where either their parents are staying or they want to continuously kind of frequently travel, hence they are upgrading their houses, either moving to condominiums or doing furnishings or expansion or renovation of their existing houses. That's the trend we've been noticing. Second, because of the infrastructure and economic development. These two factors are fueling growth in tier two cities, and we strongly believe that these are the emerging markets and presents a very, very promising opportunity, not only from a real estate perspective, but from many other industries. I mean, look at the growth in automobile sector right now, which is coming from tier two markets. And we always believe that automobile is a lead indicator for real estate sector, or commercial development is a lead indicator for residential real estate. Because if commercial opportunities are there, people will get job, they get salaries, and they first thing they do is buy a car, right? And if that development is happening, that prosperity is coming, eventually they're going to buy a house in those cities. These trends are pretty visible in cities like Lucknow, Jaipur, Indore, where we are seeing a very strong momentum. And all these cities, tier two cities, which are closer to the bigger cities, tier one cities or top eight, top 10 cities, are showing very promising trend all across.
One final question, Vikas. Let's talk about rentals a bit. Of course, it's always been an important way for people to reside. But do you see that the younger people, or at least that's what one hears, because probably they want to keep the flexibility of moving around, different cities or even different countries. Uh, do you see a greater propensity to maybe buy the property, say, for their parents, but on their own prefer to stay on rent? And therefore, how are rentals increasing according to you?
So, I mean, even in rental market, we are seeing very positive momentum. While people move back, we saw uh, kind of big dampener during COVID in the rental market, where people moved back to their homes and vacated all the rental properties. But now, as more and more companies, and in fact, I would say pretty much all the companies, are in some form and fashion telling their employees to come back to office, either for 1 or 2 days or maybe 3 or 4 days. And some companies have gone back to 5 days a week. So people have no option but to come back to the bigger cities. So which again kind of is a big reason of a spike in rental demand. But in addition to that, I think the overall growth in the economic activities is also, which is a big reason of people migrating from smaller city to big cities, uh, causes a strong growth momentum on the rental side. Plus, as we were talking about in the previous section, that property prices are going up. So there are two types of real estate buyers in the market, or people in the market who, one, feel that if prices are going up, I should make my decision quickly so that I can cap my price, and then whatever happens to the market, I don't care. I've blocked my asset. Some people say, oh, prices are going up, let me just hold on, and that is where they move to a rental house, which is again fueling a strong rental demand. We've been continuously tracking rental demand in almost 42 cities, and we've seen that our IRIS index, which is a strong indicator of what the rental demand is, has been consistently above 100. In fact, in H1 of 2023, it has been standing at 131, which indicates the demand sentiment on the rental side is pretty strong. But this definitely is a strong phenomena in top 8 to 10 cities, and less so in tier 2 cities.
So much more to talk about, but we'll keep that for another conversation, Vikas. Wonderful talking to you. Thank you very much for joining me, and I look forward to many more such conversations with you and bringing even some of your research reports out to our viewers so that they can make informed decisions. Thank you so much.
Surely, Vivek. Thanks a lot for hosting me once again.